2, 1. Let's do it. Cheers. Hey, how do you do? How do you do? I brought some friends along. How you do's? How you do's, dudes? How you do's? Did you bring me any foods? You're a real doll, baby. I mean... Meow, 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 meow. I mean, meow. Little P, that's my dude. Ooh. As an old poet once said, help me. I don't feel like reaching over there for the regular lighter, so. Yo, that shit went up in flame a little bit. I saw ember flying around, ember moons and shit. Can we get Christy in the shot? Yeah, we can. What's up, Christy? How do you do? How do you do, Christies? And you can sort of see them right there. Those are a pair of Bose S1 Pros, and they nice. They pretty nice. They are pretty nice. More so for live performance, really, than they are for DJing, but they are fucking great for DJing. These things can handle, well, the biggest crowds I've thrown at them, but, to be fair, the biggest crowd I think I've thrown in front of them have been like maybe 50 or 60 people. I don't get big gigs. I've done a few weddings and stuff like that, but I didn't have these at the last wedding that I did. So each speaker, each cabinet has, I think, 3 speakers in it, and they're angled. And but so the top, I think the top one is pointing off to one side or slanted toward one side, and then the bottom one is slanted over toward the other side, while the one in the middle is facing straight out. So you get a little bit more dispersion from that one speaker cabinet. And then I've got the second one, so they can give me some really good dispersed coverage for just about anything that I'm ever gonna be able to throw at them. Each one of them has a little handle up at the top, and you just pick it up and carry it with you. You can carry both of them speakers in one trip pretty easy with a backpack and a controller bag or something strapped around your shoulder. Easy peasy, lemon squeezy. I'm pretty greasy. 100, but I'm saying that's irrelevant. I don't even know why you asked me that question, but I digress. That case with my Pioneer DDJ 1000, that's a badass controller, for real. That is a badass controller. That is a boss level controller. But that case, I think, weighs 3 times as much as the controller itself. So it's not very convenient. I'm not taking the case with me to the gig. Unfortunately, I don't have a soft bag or anything for it, so I'm gonna wrap it up in a blanket and put it inside of one of those like little tubs where you store stuff under your bed or whatever. I'm gonna wrap it up in a blanket put it in one of those and carry it in the minivan to the event. You know, I could get a bag for it for, I think it's like $40, but my money is so tight right now that, you know, $40 isn't a whole lot for it, you know, I mean, but $40 is $40. But it should be a pretty easy setup, you know, I mean, and that's really the good thing about that case. If it wasn't, you know, like 100 pounds or more with the controller inside of the case, that would be super convenient. I mean, I went all out and hooked it up. I put that power strip in there. That's a Bluetooth receiver on the bottom of it. And then you can't see this, obviously, because it's hidden in the back of the case of the controller. But I have a couple wireless microphone systems hooked up and stored down inside of there. I got the receivers down in there, and then the little antennas can pop out, so that I've got two wireless systems. One is for two handheld wireless microphones. I think it's a Voco Pro UHF band or something, and but it's for, I think it was a $250 system or something like that. You know, it's great. It's pretty great. I've had those microphones reach, I want to say, around maybe 60 to 70 yards. I've never really tried anything more than that, but you know, I mean, they carry perfectly fine, and the sound on them is nothing spectacular. It's not like you know, you're not gonna get as good of a microphone as you're gonna get with like a SM58 or something like that, you know, but it's wireless and it's good. It's definitely good enough, especially for just announcements and, you know, toasts, things like that if you're doing a wedding. But I also have the other wireless microphone system is for one of those little headset microphones. But anyway, you know, for me, so I digress. That's what's so convenient about it, because I got all of that stuff set up inside of the case. So in an event where I'm going to need or want to use all of that stuff, like if I was going to do a wedding again, which I don't know that I am or even want to, I don't know. But, you know, yeah, it's like ready to go. All you got to do is plug it in and run the cables to the speakers, plug the speakers in, get everything set, baby, good to go. Good to go. And I even have a, I think the Jackery 500 and another backup for that is I think the Jackery 100. And then I have two sets of solar panels too. And, you know, I've got it set up so that I could run this system completely off of the grid. You know, that was why I bought that Jackery set and everything to go with it, because, you know, and why I wanted to use these S1 Pros, because, you know, they got built-in batteries too. So, but, you know, this whole setup, I could run, I want to say I could probably run up to 8 to 10 hours without any electric grid at all. Great for, you know, like bonfire parties and stuff like that. Unfortunately, I decided to call it quits before I ever really got to use any of that. I used to do a dance in, I don't know, maybe 20, 30 minutes up the road here. But it used to be like a monthly thing that they would put on for adults with intellectual disabilities. And, you know, things like Down syndrome and autism, and not a whole lot of high functioning people like myself, but you know, I go out there and start playing, man, and them dudes went nuts. Them dudes went nuts. I'm telling you, man, them dudes knew how to party. Them dudes knew how to party, cut loose, and have a good time. I really enjoyed doing those dances, man. Those people out there were so fucking full of life. It was great. But weddings are, weddings I think are one of the most stressful gigs you can get as a mobile DJ. Yet one of the best paying gigs that you can get, and some of the best awful gigs you can get, I mean, as a DJ, you always gotta watch the floor. You have to watch the floor. You gotta watch the people out there, because that is like literally half of the job is to read the room. But you can get a real show sometimes at weddings. I'll just say, you can get a real show sometime at weddings, man. Weddings can get pretty wild. I remember going with my brother and his friends when I was younger, and they would do these dances over up on, the old Booker T. Washington. We used, Johnson Hill. Man, it was, I think there was a fight broke out like every time they did that place. But the crazy thing about it was, and the same thing is sort of true, just on a lesser scale for, when I first started doing actual gigs to DJ. But this dude would rent a U-Haul truck for these dances, and when they would do weddings and things like that. I never went with him to any of the weddings and stuff, just the mostly just like the schoolhouse dances and stuff like that. But half of that U-Haul truck would be crates of records and the other half would be equipment, and half of that I guess a quarter of the back of that U-Haul was just the speakers. Really, and when I started doing gigs, my first gig I think was at the Odyssey in Verona, Virginia, and it was at the time it was a little dry bar for teenagers to go out and cut loose, dance. It's like the club for teens, it's like the club for teens. And I got my first gig out there, and once again, the back seat was mostly just my records and CDs and stuff, and I had some more stuff in the trunk, but they had their own turntables and mixer sound system. Oh man, they had a spectacular sound system. But now, if I was doing that same gig in today's time or whatever, I wouldn't have had anything in the back seat, probably. I might have had a laptop back there if the club, whatever, didn't have their own computer or something to run the software, the way record pools be nowadays, man. You got, not only do you got the record pools, but you got streaming services like Tidal that integrates right in with, I think, all of the major DJ softwares now. And, it's fucking incredible. But you can't depend on Wi-Fi. You can't depend on Wi-Fi. If you are using a stream service to pull a lot of your music, what do you call it? Cache that shit, however you pronounce it, because, save it offline. I know Virtual DJ, I think, allows you to do that. I'm not sure about Serato, Rekordbox, or DJ. I think DJ, I do have that one. I use it as sometimes, but just as a backup and to play dinner music and stuff. But, download that shit. Don't depend on that Wi-Fi or your 5G, whatever, because Even the best of connections, sometimes when you're dealing with wireless signals, can disappear, you know? And for the same, excuse me, the same reason that you never DJ a gig without a backup, you know? That redundancy is so important, because if you work long enough, you will, you know, it will go wrong. Something will go wrong. It's inevitable. It happens. And, you know, you can't just say that, okay, yeah, you know, because, well, that's because, you know, you're doing everything digital and, you know, there's whatever, man. But that happens with mechanical stuff, too. Actually, I think it happens more with mechanical stuff. Turntables can be a bitch. Honestly, I know I'll probably get some hate for this, but I hate turntables. I hate turntables. You know, I know that once upon a time they were a necessary thing to get that feel on the record, you know, to get that feel with the groove, that only getting your hand on it and moving it around to scratch, to cue, to nudge, you know, it was so great for that until, you know, we started getting some CDJs and the jogs on the controllers, you know. A fucking game changer, man. I remember the Hercules DJ console MK2. That was one of the first ones, man. That was it wasn't the first DJ controller on the market, but it was early in there. It was before the Vestax. I know that there was another Hercules controller before that one, hence the MK2. I think the first one was just called the Hercules DJ console or something like that. And then after that, I think around the same time as the Vestax came out, was the Hercules RMX. And the RMX was great. It was a simple, basic controller, but that thing was built like a tank. I guarantee you could go on eBay and find 50 million used RMX units because they never stopped working. Only reason I got rid of mine is because I needed the extra money. And, you know, I was just moving on to bigger and better things. But, of course, you get much better DJ controllers now. You know, that RMX, feature-wise, they ain't have shit, you know, on this. Back in those early days, the jog wheels didn't really even have touch sensitivity. What that means is, you know, like a record, if you hold it for a second with your finger, you know, it stops. It just stops. But with those jogs, before they started doing them all with touch sensitivity and all that, you know, you hold it and then it starts back up, even though you're still holding it there. You know, so it didn't have that same feel as vinyl. And even these don't have the same feel as vinyl. But with turntables, you've got so much to worry about, from the motors to the needle to dust and heat and moisture and warping because of those things. And, you know, adjusting the torque on the head and all of that stuff is just, man, I found dealing with, for me, maybe it's the brain injury, I don't know, but, you know, dealing with those counterweights for me was such a pain in the ass. And then a bunch of people will convince you to put, a penny or a nickel up on your cartridge head and end up wearing out your needles and records faster. Yeah, you know, I was so happy to drop vinyl altogether. I used the time code there for a little while in those earlier days, because before, you know, I mean, the CDJs had touch sensitivity, but there was no way I could get into the CDJs. And the I got the, I think it was around that time. Yeah, it was the MK2, and then it was the Hercules RMX. And I did get a pair of, Newmark TTX 500X or something like that. And, was running time codes and stuff. But, my brain function doesn't allow me to DJ using vinyl the way that I want to, because one, I have nervous hands. All of this stuff, at least I believe, comes from the brain injury, because my hands are too nervous, for one, and there's just something about my brain where the left and the right, I'll see you later, dude, where the left and the right side just don't communicate as quickly as they should. So it's the same thing when I play guitar and trying to coordinate like my left hand and my right hand, going back and forth between the jogs or the vinyl and the crossfader and everything. I can pull off those little basic scratches and a couple little chippy chirp, 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 and basic, running the crossfader at the same time, of course. But as soon as, start trying to get it past the baby scratch and the little chirpy chirps, I can't hang it. That was the style really that made me want to start DJing as a kid. But, DJing is fun no matter how you look at it and no matter how you do it. So, but I was happy personally to get away from vinyl because, of all of that headache. Give me these CDJ jogs I got up on top of my 1000, baby, all day long. And those outer rings on that thing, man, work beautifully to nudge that little pitch bend. Get yourself lined up, you know what I'm saying? Get lined up. Do some lines, and I don't mean white lines. No white lines here, baby. Just a little nudgy nudge. Before I got the 1000, I was using the one right before it. I was using the Roland DJ 505, and that Roland 505, baby. I know, the 808. I have perfect faith in that the 808 is just as great as the 505 times 1,000. 100, but that 505 is gravy, baby. Having that fucking drum box built up into the top and being able to easily sync that between the drum machine and virtual DJ at the same time, and man, you can do some stuff with that. As a matter of fact, I'm not gonna get rid of my 505, even though I got the 1000 here, and I've got another, the WeGo 3 was my controller, my backup controller before, but now I've got it's a Pioneer, is it the SBJ2 or something like that, it's like a $200 controller, with a sound card built in, but it was basically meant for what I'm calling my backpack system. Where I could it's small enough to fit in the backpack that I could, slip my laptop right there behind it and maybe carry a Jackery, the Jackery 100 or something strapped to the side of it, plus a smaller like Bluetooth speaker. If I'm going to be doing something like really small, something like 5 to 10 people or something. I've got the Bose Home Speaker 500 that will handle something like that perfectly fine. It's not designed for that, but it works for that. Anything more than that, I'm going to take at least one of the S1 Pros. I also have the Mackie Free Play Bluetooth That one is really, really cool because it's a compact portable PA system / Bluetooth speaker. And it's shaped and looks like a boombox, but it's got your Nutric XLR 1/4-inch inputs and mounts to a speaker pole, but it's got a built-in battery and everything, It's got a Bluetooth, app for your phone. It's pretty gravy. It is nice. It is not nearly as nice as these S1 Pros. But the S1 Pros don't have the remote mixing app like the FreePlay has. But the FreePlay is not going to be able to cover nearly what these S1 Pros can cover. I was pretty much up until 2019, I had at least 2 to 3 events a year. And then some years I had more because, I'd get those occasional weddings. I did a couple school dances. I did my niece's birthday party back years and years ago that was like in her little basement and stuff. And like, I don't think I was even using the virtual DJ on that. I think I was still using the little CD decks. I don't know. I might be wrong about that. I know that we did like part music and part karaoke, and had a blast. They had a blast. I was sort of the cool uncle, but I was also the crazy uncle. Well, I mean, I guess I still am. I'm just a crazy little dude, or the crazy little not so dude, or not so little dude. But I do eat lots of food. But DJing was always fun. There's something just rewarding about some simple beat mixes in a mobile type situation. But in a typical, like, not club, but like just dance situation, or like a ball, or a graduation party, or even a wedding, people don't really come in there wanting to hear a whole bunch of remixes and mashing up and shit like that. Don't mash it. But she's mashing it. She just mashes it. But I do throw in a little beat mix, a little subtle beat mixing. And with virtual DJ right now, that's the bad thing about me, not doing anything these past couple years. Because once virtual DJ added stems, you can make those mixes come through super transparent, slowly, a little bit at a time. Like what I like to do is, oh God, what was it? It was, I used to mix, I think it was Lady Gaga's, was it, that did the Monster, and then I think Rihanna's Disturbia, and would, bring in the Disturbia. It wouldn't matter now because of stems, but I would bring in the Disturbia after Monster, because Monster, I think, started on with vocals and everything going in the background. So if you looped it up, you have to try to remove those vocals using the frequency on your EQ, and that gets a little bit muddy, and no pun intended, because that's literally what it does. But but using the stems, the stems aren't perfect. They don't always work good. A lot of times they sound like shit. They sound like like 26 kilohertz MP3 files or something. It's terrible. It's terrible. But sometimes, it works really good anyway. So I would follow Monster with Disturbia, and then I would start playing the instrumental part, like, I don't know, like as soon as I could really get it into Monster. But, you know, of course I matched the tempo and everything, and then I used harmonic mixing and changed the key of Disturbia to match up with, to blend in better with Monster. And then I would use like the mid frequencies and just like totally scoop that out, and then slowly start to bring in the loop on Disturbia into the mix, and just gradually bring it up so that nobody really notices too much while it's happening, and keep it subtle, you know, all the way up until you release the loop, because you know, that's where you get your payoff, really, is when you make that transition. Because as Lady Gaga starts singing those last few parts and the beat starts dropping out of that, you're already running into Disturbia, and you start bringing those mids back up, and you know, you figure out in between where to switch the key back to the original key for Disturbia, while also changing the key of Monster down to Disturbia's key. And yeah, and then you release that loop and let it play, and maybe mix in something else after that, you know. I guess this video is for Zach Freeze. Because he was asking me about this stuff a while back. But sorry it took me this long, I guess. Remix DJing is a lot of fun too, though. And that's where something like the 505, you know, really comes in. That's really for the less for, you know, like the mobile guys, like and more for the performance guys. I really prefer to, you know, if I'm going to be doing something like that and using a drum machine, I'd really like to sync up something like Machine. Give me those performance pads for that. I think the 808 might let you use the performance pads for it, but it's not, I don't think it's like, you know, tapping out your bar on a loop. It's you know, still the it's sequencing essentially. But the I haven't tried it, but I do believe it's possible, because the 505 does have a 5-6 pin whatever MIDI pin on the back of it. You know, so you could sync clock with another device like an MPC, or the MIDI on your machine, or, you know, something like this other thing I got, the the Roland something 505. It's basically a little sampler. It's got 5 banks with their own faders and everything on there. And Mark, what's his name? Mark Rae, or I'm sorry, baby. I am so sorry. I forgot how to pronounce your name. Mark Ribier. But, you know, I appreciate you. You know, that's what he uses, is the Boss 505. And it is dope. You know, I was using it for a little while I was trying to get back into my musical thing, and then I fell off again, whatever. You know, but I had it synced up with my was it the Line 6, not the Helix, what was it before the Helix? The HD 500, I think, something like that. Anyway, you know, I had it synced up with that, so I could match the delay times and everything with you know, with the Boss 505. And then I could program the foot switches on their own separate patch to be MIDI signals, so that I could use those to trigger events in the 505 to like start, stop a loop and things like that. You know, I need to make some more music. Oh, and speaking of, I actually have been working on some music. I've been working on some music cheating, you know, using the royalty-free loops and stuff like that. But I literally have no idea what the fuck I'm even talking about. But, you know, she is pretty. That is my imaginary wifey. I'm imagining she's my wifey. Oh, and here's the part where I do sing. Or whatever. Yeah. And that organ is just, you know, I tap myself on the back or whatever you want to call that crap, because I enjoy it. You may not be entertained, but I am. I am entertained. I highly entertain myself. I'm fucking dumb. And then although that transition there is almost cliche. That is almost cliche. All right, we don't need to see it twice. We don't need to see it twice. You ain't been that nice. Or have you? I don't know. I forgot to even mention that we have a special guest here. You've already seen him and you probably didn't even notice he was there. That's right, Magic Johnson is here with me today. Magic Johnson. That's right, the Magic Johnson. I was just waiting, you know, till I finished my cigar to introduce you to him. But, yeah, that's right. I got Magic Johnson. And no, not a Magic Johnson, the Magic Johnson. Why am I still wearing the headphones? Because I'm a dummy with a big fat tummy. That's why they call me Tummy G. That's why Chris calls me Tummy G. And no, I do not have a mullet, just in case you're wondering, because, you know, my hair is usually like tucked behind my ears and shit. No. I do not have a mullet, but one side is longer than the other. The more you know. So anyway, let me introduce you to my little friend Magic Johnson. Magic Johnson in here, yo. I am about to smoke Magic Johnson. Cheers. Nice. Magic Johnson is so nice. Yeah. Magic Johnson is so nice. I'm gonna smoke him twice, maybe thrice, as long as I don't get no lice. Oh. Top it off with tilapia and rice. Oh, now that's nice. Now that's just nice. One more time, you know, because that's what we do. One more time. You'd be proud of me because I was just about to say something that sounded kind of dirty, and I caught myself. I caught myself this time. So I will not say anything about sucking off Magic Johnson. Fuck. Now I look like a lumberjack. You know what? If I could find my glasses, I could look like a smart lumberjack. They're around here somewhere. I was getting ready to pull up these, put on my dab tools. It kind of looks like the phone case. The phone case. The case for my glasses. My glasses case. I'll tell you what, if I'm right, the world's all wrong. Or is it if I'm wrong, the world's all right? I am a poor excuse for a DJ, but the events that I've done, everybody seems to have a good time. Over at this place I'm doing on Halloween, like the members there ask for me all the time. Every time they do an event over there, they ask for me. My falling out in 2019 was with the staff. It really sucked. I mean, I had basically, I prepared for that event for 2-3 weeks straight. And then when I got to about the last week, I just like buckled down and, practiced and practiced and practiced and got, getting all the playlists and all my plans and, everything piece by piece, worked out in my head and in practice and running stress tests and all of that along the way. And then get to the event only to figure out, because they're too fucking passive aggressive to actually tell me this, that they don't want to pay the little stipend or whatever you want, honorarium or whatever you want to call it, to me to do the dance. And and I get that, because the budget on the mental health system in Virginia is terrible. They keep promising to increase it year after year after year, while cutting the budget year after year after year after year. But I digress. I didn't care that much about the money. I was taking the money because they were giving it to me. I was taking the money because they were giving it to me, and I can always use money. But, I would have done it for free. If they had just turned to me and said, hey, we can't pay you, do you still want to do it? I would have fucking done it, because I enjoy doing it. I have fun doing it. Not to mention the fact that we had already driven there and was halfway into unloading the car before they decided to tell me that they were just gonna use a boombox that night. Again, I don't think it's my performance or anything like that. I think they were, they didn't want to pay me, and they were upset that they hadn't heard from me, or that I hadn't been there in about a week before the event. And, I get that too, if, they wanted me to be there during the week, but you could have picked up the phone and called me. And then that's where we fell out, because then they lied. They lied about my attendance record there, saying that I hadn't been there in close to a month, 3 weeks or something. And I pulled out my phone and I proved that I had been there exactly a week prior to the event, and Halloween 2019. And then my dad turned around and asked him, well, why didn't you call? Why didn't you call? And they said, we did, but your voicemail was full. I've had a cell phone since, I think, 2001, and never once has my voicemail been full. Because as soon as I get the message that I should start deleting voicemails, I delete voicemails. I'm like almost OCD about that shit. And they had no problem reaching me anytime before that dance was supposed to occur, and they had no problem reaching out to me a few weeks later to ask me when I was coming back. I was like, I'm not coming back. You know, I can put up with a lot of things. You know, I can put up with being fired on the same day of an event. You know, I can deal with being asked to do an event for free. I can deal with being called a fat ass. They didn't call me a fat ass, but you know, I could deal with all of that. What I can't deal with is the people that are supposed to be in charge of assisting me and other consumers, and the people that are basically running the place, you know, lie. That is the same type of shit that I had to deal with back in the day with Charter Hospital and doctors in general, and counselors too in general. And fuck those guys. Fuck those guys, you know. Luckily, thankfully, I've had good doctors, I've had good counselors and all of that too. But there's some really shitty organizations and some really shitty caregivers out there. They really are. They really, really are. Charter, you know, if you don't, you know, I'm not going to sit here and explain the whole Charter scam, but if you want to know more about it, check out our Stony Shaman's Corner playlist and the video about me being exploited by Charter Hospital. Watch it. Fuck those guys. Fuck them. Fuck them. Fuck them with a pickaxe. Fuck them with a pickaxe. But yeah, you know, after that headache, I was like, you know, I ain't gonna do this. I'm just gonna sit at home for a while, take a break. And then the pandemic happened. And then I sat at home. And then I sat at home. And then I sat at home. And then I sat at home, you know. And I know, you know, what they say about, you know, the isolation and the cabin fever. And, you know, the walls closing in, and all of it's true. All of it's true. Thankfully, I can kind of see through, little dude. You know, I'm saying. But I really didn't have no choice once the pandemic started, because with my history in pneumonias and all of that, if I had have caught COVID, by the way, I knock on woodness and stuff, you know, gravy, baby. I have not caught COVID once. And most of that is because, you know, I've spent the vast majority of the entire pandemic chilling inside this apartment. Just me and my little dude. You know, I know, you know, the isolation thing and everything, but, you know, what good is anything after that, you know, if I catch COVID and die? You know, I've had like almost somewhere around 50 pneumonias in my lifetime. Catching COVID is that's not a starter. There's no starter there, whatever you call it, you know. That's no starter jacket jack, or that is a starter jacket jack. You know, they stole my charter jacket. They stole my starter jacket. But, you know, again, I was wanting to get back into the DJ game a little bit, at least, you know, at least just enough to get my fucking toes wet. But, you know, my health just kind of declines and declines and declines. So I don't really think I'm in good enough shape to be moving a bunch of stuff around and setting up and tearing down. You know, that really started going downhill in 2017 when I got that big pneumonia that year. That was a bad one, had me up in the hospital for a week. And I started getting the vaccine, and I haven't had, for the first time, and this is the longest I've been my entire life without a pneumonia, but I've been since 2018 now without a single pneumonia. And again, knock on woodsies and stuff, but I've basically had a pneumonia, at least one pneumonia, pretty much every year from the age of 1 until 2018, or 2019, because my last one was in 2018. I got pneumonia that year, like right as I was, probably about to get some booty, and I got sick. Never got that booty, I mean, to be fair, if I hadn't got sick, I don't know if I would have got the booty anyway, but I was holding hope. Regardless, I'm saying. And then I got sick. I'm supposed to be getting some drugs in the mail today. Hydroxyzine, to be specific. I got a bag full of drugs yesterday, too. That was, fenofibrate, a statin, metformin, metoprolol, and was something else. I think there's something. It was basically it's panoprozole. Yeah, that's the other one. Is panoprozole. I guess I'm just a druggie. I guess I'm a druggie. Hey man, you got any of that fenofibrate? Make you feel great. Metoprolol. Be like, what you in here for, man? Oh, doctor shopping for blood pressure medicine. Trying to get my acid reflux under control. And yes, Ronnie, if you're watching this video by chance, or if I release this video and include this in here, yes, I know. The dragon tacos don't help. I know. But it's like the way people love Chipotle, So what if you're bleeding out your butthole? Chipotle. Same thing with dragon tacos, you just got to include a little bottle of antacids and a roll of toilet paper with it. Those are the sides for dragon tacos, is antacids and toilet paper. The insides could get a little violent, if you know what I mean, after a bowl of my dragon tacos. But, oh my God, it's so good, man. It's so good. It's so good. It's just so good. It's basically, a hamburger is cooked in Allegro face. No, it's not really Allegro face. It's just Allegro sauce and Taco Bell fire sauce and Texas Pete, and mix that in with the meat and then grill it up and chop it up. And I use the Old El Paso, hot and spicy, baby. And get that stirred up, finish grilling it, and pull it out. I put it in the bowl in 3 layers. So I put the bottom layer of hamburger and then sprinkle the shredded 4 cheese on top of that, and then a little bit of sour cream, a little bit of Taco Bell fire sauce, a little bit of Texas Pete, another layer of meat, and same thing, and then another layer of meat, same thing, stir it up, baby. Serve with those little soft taco bowl shells things, and then, but dragon tacos are a little bit like dating a crazy chick. It might be the death of you, but just so good. Just so good. So much fun, or just so good. You know, just so good. However, tonight, I know this is probably, you know, gonna piss a lot of people off. But tonight, I'm having fish and mayo. Fish and mayo. And I know that might piss a whole lot of people off because, you know, I know that probably makes a few people cringe the way that pineapples on pizza makes me cringe. But, you know, it's all gravy, baby, because we can all eat different things and enjoy what we enjoy. And mayo with fish is good, but you got to take it easy. Too much mayo and, you know, it gets really old really quick, you know. Just to, you know, I like to set the mayo on the side of either my fish sticks or like breaded fish. Or not breaded, well, you know, I guess it's all breaded, whatever. But you know what I'm saying? There's like the long fish tenders. What's probably like salmon or something. Salmon, Sally Salmon, something like that. You know, but then just have like a little bowl of mayo or something off to the side so you can just kind of lightly dip and good stuff. Good stuff. Or maybe it's just the whiteness in me, you know? Maybe there's just the whiteness in me, but that fish and mayo is gravy, baby. I was wondering why I was so oversaturated in the picture there, because I just got these lights and I keep forgetting that it doesn't save the preset or, you know, the level that I set the light on this particular one for whatever reason. And the app is almost useless. Almost. Sometimes it works, and then other times it just don't work at all and won't connect, and, you know, no good. Which sucks because, you know, these lights are like full RGB and everything, and, you know, it's really, really cool. They're really, really cool. But the way that I'm using them in fixed positions, you know, to really reach this one, just to turn it on, I have to like lean over my desk and everything, you know, and then if I want to like change the patterns on there, it's a tiny little screen on the back and it's one knob to control everything, but you know, you got to flip it around, and if you want to make a small adjustment, once I get back here, then I got to do that all over again, you know. And when I can use the app to do it, it's great, but the app like doesn't work more than it does work. But yeah, so that I forgot to move this one back down to 70%, so it was at 100% just blasting in my face. And that's still probably a little bit much, honestly. Those probably should come down a little bit more if I'm going to be 100, but I don't feel like turning them down more, so, you know, we're getting what we're getting. Get, go, get. Look at Annie. Annie's just hanging out there with Rae Rae. How you guys doing over there? How you doing? We got dope. That's why I'm saying Rae Rae. Because, you know, I got double the Reagan over here with me today. I got double the Reagan. Rae Rae. Big Ray, Lil Ray. Rae Rae. There's nothing on a pecan. We need a little dude to show up for the pecan. Maybe eat a bottle of ham. A bottle of ham. When is ham come in a fucking bottle? Shit. Whatever. Whenever. How do you doody booty? Shooby dooby dooby. Won't you come to me, please? I'll take pity booty. Shit. I mean, I'm a proud dude, but I ain't too proud for pity booty. Shit. Doing the butt. Pretty. Hi. Ain't nothing wrong if you want to do the butt all night long. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah, 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 yeah. That butt. That big old butt. That's what you do if, when you get lost, if you get lost trying to do an accent, you're not sure about your accent, just pull up some stereotypical words like for the Page County people, words like crick, shandor, and luray, and bow, boosh, burr. I see her. And then, just put it together. Hey, ball, come down by the creek with Ma. I'll see y'all. Holler back, player. You meet me down by the creek and we'll drink our burr down yonder by the bush. Up the road a piece right fur. Just throw in those little guys. It's kind of like the I guess the Virginian way of I parked my car in Harvard Yard. Or as they say in my dad's native country for the millionth time, hey, forget about it. I'm walking here. What, you think you better than me? Forget about it. I'm not really that great with accents, but I do got the Page County and down. I got that Page County accent per down ball. I got that Page County accent down like a Charlie Brown ball. I'm confident in that shit. I've probably told this story a million times, but why not tell it again? When I first moved out there back in the day, then I walked to the video store because that was back in the day when we still did those video stores, and I walked to the video store to get a membership. That was one of the first things that I did, and I met this dude on the way walking back home, and it was like, "Oh, I got a friend over there on Denver." I'm like, "Oh, really? How far is he from the grounds?" He's like, "Up the road a piece right fur." It's like, "Huh? Up the road a piece right fur." Huh? Up the road a piece right fur. Like, oh, okay. I got it after, I think 4 or 5 times, but that was when I learned the difference between a country accent and a southern accent. And to be fair, the difference between a country accent and a redneck accent, and as well, the difference between a real country boy and a redneck, or I should say, country people and rednecks. There is a difference. And honestly, I think if you don't consider yourself a redneck, then you're not a redneck. But there is a pretty big difference in attitude and the culture of it. Some of them, and I have seen people that call themselves rednecks that I personally wouldn't consider rednecks. But you can call yourself whatever you like. That is your prerogative. But I met some straight up country boys when living out there. Man, it was cool as shit. And taking me out on back roads and smoke and grow, smoke and dro, whatever you call it, blasting on some White Zombie and shit. And there was nothing to do living out there pretty much. And, no real scene. The scene was either the Moose Lodge or McDonald's. Those were the places to go hang out. And so I went to McDonald's a lot. But I met some really cool dudes, over there. And even though, that country life out there, or at least that kind of country life, not for me. Definitely not really for me. Or at least, not at that point. But You know, I had some good times out there, and I met some really good people. You know, so I do appreciate you, Page County. You know, just so you know that. You know, I don't look back on all of you badly. There's a lot of them out there that I do look badly. Especially some of the police. When I first moved out there, a lot of the police were perfectly cool. They were great. You know, they really didn't mess with you unless you messed with or were doing something that you needed to be messed with, like being shit-faced drunk racing down residential streets. You know, but then the chief of police fucks up, and I'm not even going to repeat what he did, because what he did was fucked up, and ends us up with a completely different police chief with a completely different approach and mindset to policing. And Jesus, man, that was so fucked. I'm not even going to get into details. I'm just going to say, man, he was a piece of shit, and it sucked. And I got the fuck out of there as quickly as I could possibly get out of there. But, you know, the city that I'm living in now is probably the most progressive city that you could live in, at least here in the Valley. You know, it's not as progressive as a lot of places, you know. It's not as progressive as a lot of other places, you know, especially in the bigger cities. But for the Valley, it's pretty great. As a matter of fact, I met, if I can explain this right, without coming out weird, the first gay couple I ever met that introduced themselves as a gay couple was here in this city. And I remember specifically thinking about that when they introduced themselves to me, because the way that they introduced themselves was so nonchalant, just matter of fact, you know, just, hey, I am so-and-so, this is my life partner, you know. And the culture around the city I grew up in, definitely Page County. I knew a gay kid out there that got bullied and basically run the fuck out of town. And, you know, coming here and meeting a gay couple that's just, you know, this is my life partner over here. I'm like, man, that is fucking beautiful. You know, that is fucking beautiful, because, you know, I love the Valley. I love Virginia. You know, I love this area, and I love a lot of fucking people here too. 100. But the culture here, the toxicity in that culture here is fucking trash. Just straight up fucking trash. The ancestry of white supremacy and body shaming, race shaming, you know, I'm saying racism, and homophobia, transphobia, all of that shit. Bible Belt thump you over the head with their fucking Bible bullshit. You know, it's been that here throughout the Valley, generation after generation after generation after generation. It is very deeply bred into the culture around here, and it is fucking trash. It is fucking trash. That being said, I think there are a few places that are probably equally as progressive, or maybe even a little bit more progressive than the city that I'm in, just outside of the Valley. I don't know much about Winchester. My homeboy goes up to Winchester all the time, but I don't know much about Winchester. Winchester, I know, definitely has a lot more stuff to do, and a lot more stuff to get into. But Winchester is a little bit bigger than the city that I'm in. And Richmond is like around 90 miles away, because maybe a little bit more than 90 miles, because It was when we went for my consultation with Greenleaf. It was about 250 miles round trip. So whatever the divide be on that, that was, yeah. But Richmond, you know, I mean, I guess this is probably true of anywhere, that with more population comes more services, more stores, you know, things like that, and more things to do as a consequence, because there's just a bigger market. Also comes the crime. I think the Berg is really a good medium thing, because we have crime, you know. It's not that we don't have crime. So did Stanton when I lived there. But we don't have the crime that Richmond has. And I'll tell you right now, straight up, because, you know, I have spent a little bit, not a whole lot, but a little bit of time around the Richmond area. And I will tell you right now, Richmond is wilding out. Richmond is wilding out. Richmond has been wilding out for a long time. I mean, Richmond is essentially Virginia's equivalent of B-More. I mean, you probably maybe say that about Virginia Beach too, but I haven't really seen the seedy parts of Virginia Beach though. So even though Virginia Beach is bigger than Richmond, I can't really say a whole lot about the underbelly, so to speak, in Virginia Beach, because I haven't really seen that side of it. I've seen a lot of really fun stuff in Virginia Beach, and, you know, I know the crime is there. You know, the crime is definitely there. I just haven't been on that, you know, yeah. But, man, I got some great memories down on Oceanfront, you know, the up and down the fucking boardwalk, man, and all of those stores along the way, you know, selling little souvenirs. We go in there, buy those, like, when I was a kid, and get those, like, I don't know why, I just thought it was so cool, those, like, little mask things, but it's just like a little mouth, but like, or no, they had the masks that had the mouths that, like, actually moved when you talked, and like those, like, little animal mask things, you know, where it's just like a little piece of a mask with a little piece of like elastic string going around. They got such a big kick out of that shit, but the masks with the moving mouths, that blew my mind. The first place I ever seen that was Virginia Beach. But then the saltwater taffy, baby. Virginia Beach has got some great saltwater taffy. But, you know, the problem with saltwater taffy, you know, because the only time you ever get to buy it, well, at least, unless you special order it or something from somewhere, but, you know, you buy it on the beach. You're at the beach during the peak of summertime usually, and the taffy melts to that wrapper, you know, and if you don't want to waste half of a box of taffy, of saltwater taffy, you're going to be eating some wrappers. You're going to be eating some wrappers. And I don't mean the hip-hop wrappers, you know. I'm talking about trash wrappers. Physical waste, plastic, you know. But one of my favorite places in Virginia is, well, actually, I'm going to tell you a couple of my favorite places, because there's a couple places I can tell you about that have a whole lot of stuff. And that is the Skyline Drive and the Blue Ridge Parkway. There are like not literally thousands, but there's 1,000 stops to make on both the Skyline Drive and the Blue Ridge Parkway, and you know, see some beautiful shit out there, man. I filmed a baby black bear out there, and one time it was like, I don't know, maybe 20 feet, if that, you know, just from the car. We were so close. We were trying to, you know, park across the road so that we weren't, you know, too close to it. But other people were like stopping in the middle of the road and like actually getting out of their cars and stuff like that. And so the ranger actually came through there and basically told everybody, you need to get the fuck out of here, you know? I mean, that's exactly why we were parked across the street, sitting in the car, you know, trying to keep a little bit of a distance and using that optical zoom, because we saw baby bear. Didn't see mama bear, you know? And if you don't know, you need to know. Wherever baby bear is, mama bear is not far behind. And you do not want to get in the middle of baby bear and mama bear. You know, if you don't know nothing about that country living, you know, don't get between mama bear and baby bear. Don't do it. You know, you are basically done if you come between baby bear and mama bear. You're done. But my other favorite place in Virginia is up in Highland County. A little strip of land I used to call Poppy Land. Was a little strip of land that my granddad, that we called Poppy, used to own. And he bought it specifically so that we could go out there, camp. We'd have private property. There was, like, I don't know, it was, I think, 30 acres, maybe more. There, you know, the bad thing about that is that the vast majority of the property was across the Jackson River and like up into the woods. And that place is prime ground for all kinds of critters. I mean, from bear to fox and coyotes, as they say around here, you know, them coyotes. And even, you know, the bigger animals that live up there aren't your biggest concern going through there. Your bigger concern is the things slithering on the ground. You know, I mean, I'm talking about rattlesnakes. I'm talking about water moccasins. I'm talking about copperheads. You know, it's all out there. That place is high up on the mountain, and it's high enough up on the mountain that the tip of the mountain is right across the road from that piece of property. And from that piece of property, that mountain tip is basically just a little bit of a hill. And that used to confuse me when we would go camping out there and as a kid, because, you know, I would wake up and the ground's all wet. And I'm like, you know, I don't remember hearing it rain last night, you know. Usually the rain falling down on my tent would wake me up, but the ground's all wet, you know. I ain't know nothing about the morning dew. And I learned, you know, you don't never camp up there and leave anything on the ground outside of the tent, or at least nothing that you don't mind getting wet, because that morning dew is real, you know. This shit right here is real. You've been hit by, you've been done by a non-criminal. Do 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 do. So I had this thing of fuel biscuits, ramen that I finished off, and we're gonna try anyway and dab the bottom of the jar. Dab the bottom of the jar ball. That's how they do it over there in Page County. That's how they do it in Shandor. 1, 2, 3. Wait, 1, 2, 3. Yeah, there we be. There we be. Heat it be. Heat it be. Heat it be. How do you be? Hi. I love you. Oh, it is solid. Solid. Not really. Nah, not like talk about it. And I don't want to talk about it. That's alright. But we got more, you know. This is what I do when when I finish off a jar. I always try to go over it with the nectar collector and just, you know, try to finish it off completely as much as I can. Let's try the Star Dog. I'm a Star Dog champion. Oh, this one looks like we might get a little dabby dab off of it. So let's try this one. 2, 3. Blink, blink. Doo doo. How do you do? How do you do? Ooh. Thing is just a little gunky gunk up on that corner. A little gunky gunk. Let's do it like a skunky skunk. Solid. That's a little bit better. Mm-hmm. Oh shit. Oh. Okay, that's good. Oh, that's good. That's good. Oh. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Oh shit. Oh shimmy. Oh shit. The battery died. Oh, 1, 2, 3, 4. Oh. That's what happened. I had accidentally completely turned it off. I don't know how I do that. Oh, how did I do that? Scooby-Doo bat 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 bat. Cleaning cycle. So, if I decide, if I do end up publishing this stupid stuff for whatever reason, thanks for hanging out and watching and, you know, listening to me just, you know, talk about random thingy things. And yeah, I'll catch you in the next one, whatever that be. I'll see you, well, no, I won't see you, Pete, but, you know. Until the next one, I love you and bye.